Welcome back to Burning Down the House. My name is Bethany, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the 10 signs of gaslighting. This is part of a 10 sign series I've created for easy reference. You can find the 10 sign series playlist on this channel, along with other videos related to narcissism, toxic relationships, setting boundaries, and practicing self-care. When we talk about narcissism and toxic relationships, a term that keeps coming up is the term gaslighting. What does this even mean? Gaslighting is a form of emotional and psychological abuse where the other person tries to make you question your sanity, memory, or judgment. They'll say things like, you're being too sensitive, or that never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Or poor thing, are you okay? The person doing the gaslighting is attempting to undermine your credibility and self-esteem. Unlike overt physical abuse or attacks that leave visible wounds, gaslighting is a subtle and insidious form of manipulation that erodes your confidence steadily and over time. They'll tell you certain events never happened, feign concern for your mental health, and they'll just flat out lie to you and lie to others about you. So why do they do this? Why do they lie, deny, and deflect responsibility? Why do they twist your words and distort the truth and engage in all this crazy making? In a word, control. There's something about you that's making them uncomfortable. For some reason, they feel threatened by you. And if they can get you to feel insecure or vulnerable, if they can throw you off your game, so to speak, then they have the upper hand in the relationship. They can control you, those around you, and keep their reality intact. A lot of times gaslighting is discussed in the context of romantic relationships, like my spouse is a narcissist or my boyfriend or girlfriend is always trying to make me feel like I'm the crazy one in the relationship. And this is totally valid. Gaslighting can happen in romantic relationships, friendships, even at work with a toxic boss or coworker. But I feel it's especially important to talk about gaslighting in the family, since it's not uncommon for our first exposure to gaslighting to happen on the home base and then affect how we relate to people in these other areas of our life. For instance, maybe you're struggling to set boundaries with a partner or friend because when you were growing up and you tried to set boundaries, your parents would gaslight you and tell you you're being too sensitive, touchy, or you need to lighten up. Or maybe you want to make a career change, but you're constantly second-guessing yourself. A toxic parent or sibling told you it was a stupid idea, or they've trained you for years to doubt your inner voice and intuition, and now you're really afraid of venturing into new and unknown territory. But whatever your circumstances are, gaslighting can create tremendous mental and emotional distress. So, how do you know if someone's gaslighting you? Consider the following 10 signs. Sign number 1. Something feels off. You can't quite put your finger on it, but every time you're around this person, you feel bad. It's almost as if you sense some negative energy, but the other person hasn't demonstrated any blatant hostile behavior, so you think, okay, maybe this is all in my head. It's not. On the surface, your parent, sibling, cousin, whoever, may even seem really loving and compassionate, but your intuition is detecting some passive-aggressive behavior. For instance, they give you advice or treat you in a way that leaves you feeling uneasy or isolated, and then they follow it with, I just want what's best for you. I just want you to be happy. I talked a little bit about this in a previous video, 10 Signs of an Energy Vampire. You'll know the difference between a sincere compliment and passive-aggressive gaslighting behavior because a sincere compliment or sincere words make you feel good. Even if it's combined with a little constructive criticism, you can sense that the other person is coming from a good place, and you ultimately leave the interaction feeling loved and supported. But if you feel consistently drained, confused, or down on yourself after interacting with this family member, pay attention to these signals. If it sounds like they have your best interests at heart, but their behavior doesn't really align with their words, they're probably gaslighting you. Sign number 2. You question your reality. This is one of the hallmarks of gaslighting and an extremely common reaction for victims of narcissistic parents. You know for a fact something happened, whether it was abuse, mistreatment, or if it wasn't explicitly those things, you know how certain events or time periods unfolded, but your narcissistic family member has somehow convinced you that it never happened. Or if they do admit that it happened, it's not nearly as bad as you're making it out to be. Instead of acknowledging your feelings, your reality, how certain events affected you, they create revisionist history. They downplay or minimize your feelings or tell you you're not remembering things correctly. And after years of downplaying or denying your reality, you started to believe it. You thought, maybe I was too young to remember everything for what it was. Maybe I am missing something. But you're not. Your toxic, narcissistic family member is using gaslighting to keep you in the matrix. Just like Neo, you've taken the red pill and you're starting to wake up to their lies and manipulation. So if it feels like your world has been twisted and turned upside down and you don't know what's real anymore, take heart. Your feet are planted firmly in reality and you're suffering a gaslighting hangover. Sign number 3, you're confused. Similar to the prior 2 signs, you're getting contradictory or mixed signals from the other person. You feel like you're solid on an issue. You feel like you have a good grasp of the situation, but then the other person says or does something to throw you off again, and once again, you don't know what to believe. You might think, we had a good time, we reunited, we went to a concert together or whatever, had a nice family reunion, everything seemed to be going well. And then, I don't know, it's like everything reverted right back to the way it was before. The mood swings, the outbursts, the behavior is just, it's blowing hot and cold. Do they even love me? Did they ever love me? Now, it could be that the other person is struggling with some chemical imbalance or some other mental health issue that we're not aware of. But let's, for the sake of argument, assume that that's not the case. If it feels like they're playing mind games with you, they very well could be. It could be that your family member is playing a game of cat and mouse, they like the control, and they're jerking you around to keep you vulnerable. Sign number 4, you're beginning to wonder if you are too sensitive. You ever notice how gaslighters make the best comedians? Oh, come on, can't you take a joke? I was only kidding. Jeez, lighten up. It is possible, on occasion, that we misread a situation and overreact or have a disproportionate response. It happens. This is different. We're talking about a habit, a pattern of deflection, where your toxic family member refuses to take responsibility for their hurtful words and actions. They insult you, mock you, and then when you have the nerve to get upset, cry, or try to stand up for yourself, they twist it around to make it look like you're just being overly sensitive. You need to learn how to communicate. You need to learn better social skills. It can't be the other way around. It can't be that you are overreacting 99.9% of the time. And if you're starting to wonder if maybe you are too sensitive, you just need to get over it. That is a surefire sign your family has been gaslighting you. Sign number 5, you struggle with self-doubt. When it comes to making decisions, how confident are you? Do you naturally go with your first instinct, or do you always second-guess yourself? The secret? Everyone struggles with self-doubt at some point in their personal or professional lives. No one has it all figured out. In fact, experiencing a little bit of self-doubt shows you have a measure of humility. It shows that you don't believe that you have all the answers, or you know you could be wrong about something. But if your self-doubt is crippling and all-encompassing, and you're always questioning your abilities or your right to have your own viewpoint, gaslighting could be the root cause of your insecurity. Does your family like to criticize your creative, academic, or professional pursuits? Do they tell you you're going to fail or like to knock the wind out of your sails? Rather than be supportive and offer constructive advice, your toxic family member may be struggling with their own insecurity and jealousy and is using gaslighting to level the playing field. Sign number 6, you have low self-esteem. When your feelings, beliefs, and opinions are repeatedly criticized or silenced, your self-esteem inevitably takes a beating. You may have forgotten who you are and what you want out of life because the gaslighter has convinced you that those things are stupid or pointless. If it feels like you're losing touch with who you are, like you're no longer the person you used to be, optimistic, adventurous, insatiable, whatever the thing is, it could be that their gaslighting is slowly eroding your self-esteem. Sign number 7, you're on edge around them. Sort of tying back around to the first point where you feel like something's off but you can't quite put your finger on it, check in with how you're feeling. Do you feel relaxed around this person, or does it feel like you're walking on eggshells? What's their track record? In the past, when you've tried to express yourself or have a conversation with them, how did they respond? Were they reasonable and receptive, or did they snap at you? If you're always worried about their reaction, if you're worried you're going to incur their wrath and judgment, this is a classic sign of gaslighting designed to keep you submissive. Sign number 8, you're always apologizing. Are you always apologizing to the other person, even when you know you've done nothing wrong? Some gaslighters are master manipulators at projecting their own blame and shame onto others. And when you attempt to have a reasonable, civil conversation with them about their behavior, they somehow manage to twist it around to make it look like you brought everything on yourself. They never do anything wrong, and if only you had said or done things differently, there wouldn't be a problem. It is also extremely common for them to use the silent treatment as a form of punishment, a way to manipulate you into getting back into their good graces. Sign number 9, you feel weak or defeated. The gaslighter knows more than you, is wiser than you, and one day, if you're lucky, under their direction and tutelage, you'll be as enlightened as them. Narcissists have to win. They have to win the conversation, the debate, the relationship. And after a while, their conversational gymnastics just start to wear you out. And then you don't bother challenging them because in your mind, you figure you're probably wrong anyway. If you feel like you're reaching a point in life where nothing you say matters, or you're struggling to assert yourself, it could be that gaslighting is contributing to this defeatist outlook. And sign number 10, you feel like you're going crazy. When a toxic parent or sibling has their hands in your psyche, when they know all the psychological inroads and buttons to push, it can feel like you're going crazy. You feel desperate and isolated, either because they explicitly told you that you're crazy, or they lied and claimed that other people are starting to notice your craziness, even though there are no other people that feel that way about you. Whether your toxic family member is fully aware of what they're doing, or they were once a victim of gaslighting and now they're perpetuating the cycle, hopefully these 10 signs have offered you some clarity and reassurance that you're not crazy, stupid, nor are you to blame for their behavior. If you're only now realizing what's going on, protect yourself from any further manipulation by establishing and enforcing your boundaries. And if need be, speak to a trusted therapist who can help you restore your confidence and mental health. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you found this content helpful. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for future videos, and I'll see you next time.